All right, in this episode, we talk about when to start the 3X programs
and how to find a consistent release point.
Porcio, Stephen Godani here at the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch Tip Show. We go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch Tips hashtag Basic Tips. Ask your question, we answer on the show. Really cool to bring this up again. The Pocket Radar and I have partnered to on this show, kind of a sponsorship on the show. So I want to talk about it because it's something I use a lot, and that's why I want to talk about it. And I want to give you an opportunity to get it for a good discount price because they gave us a cool discount. But basically, like I've said before, on all our med throws, even our target throws, which are low stress drills that we do with this program, we pop out the radar. And I don't really want, I don't like the radar around a lot. I don't like it on the mound when guys can be going through bad mechanics and then just trying to crank up the torques. That's why in our drills and 3X programs, you're forced to move through specific components that we define in 3X mechanics that are efficient and effective. And in that way, you can really crank it up. Once you get into those positions, you get in good hip to shoulder separation or separation throws, you can really crank it up. And we need to measure, because we need to measure progress and know when things have gotten better. Like when I make a good adjustment, does the ball speed go up? Also, when I make a good adjustment and my intensity was the same, does the ball speed go up? We need to know that. You don't want to go a month into our programs without measuring, and this is an excellent radar because it's cost effective, it's as good as any of the other ones, and it comes really convenient, something you can keep in your bag in a pocket size. It's called the Pocket Radar. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. Like I said, they wanted to kind of sponsor the show and be part of the show. So if you want to go get it, go to pocketradar.com, TopVelo, and they give you 10% off. That's $30 off, TOPVELO at pocketradar.com. Also, too, make sure you have the 3X programs. Wouldn't recommend this without 3X programs. This is perfect tool for measuring 3X programs. Like we also use, we use the Huddle app for our video analysis. We use our biometric analysis system when you come down here for a camp. So it's just one of the ways we measure. There's many other ways to measure, but cool. So 3X camps coming up. If you haven't gotten into the 3X camps, the price did go up, but still I would register because they are getting booked up. Why did the price go up? Because you get the 3X online course, which is a $1,000 product with the camp. I've been giving it out as a beta version, but now it's good to go. So you get that with the course, with the camp, which is a great refresher. So it's something where you've come through the camp, then you've got this online course to go back through, and it takes you through the whole camp again so you don't forget, and you can really make sure that you're staying on track towards your velocity goals. Cool. So let's get started. What's our question for today?
Donald Clinton asks, would I be able to do summer ball in your program at the same time?
Starting the 3X programs or the 2X programs, I recommend that you come into it in an off season because the off season training is a high demand. You're training 3 to 4 hours a day, at least 4 to 5, is probably average. So it's taking up a lot of your time and it's very draining, physically challenging. So it would be hard to do it in a season. Also could be too hard on your arm if you're doing a lot of high intensity throws. Plus, if you're doing a lot of throws in your old motor coordination, your old muscle memory, it would be hard to then replace a lot of the new motor coordination we're working on in the drills. So it's not advisable. I did it before, mainly just the lifting during the summer season, and it worked for me, but not the whole program. So you could do it. You could start in the in-season program. Problem is that's built for someone who's been in the off-season program. So I typically tell someone who's in season starting these programs, you just get it, start learning it, take out what you can, work it in slowly, and then when you get to your season, you'll be prepared to start your off-season where you can really go at this and really knock it out and have a great off-season, make a lot of gains. Because that's the purpose here. You're not doing these programs to do it with the season. You're doing these programs to get out of season and make big gains to come back to season and then maintain. So I wouldn't advise that, but I would recommend you get at ACP. There's a lot to learn, and you could start working some things now until you get close to your off season.
I tried to do, not last summer, but 2 summers ago when I was playing with the Ports, I tried to do the same thing where I was going to play summer ball and do the program at the same time, and it didn't work out so well. I ended up I was just too gassed all the time, and like you'll see that when you're really pushing your limits, trying to make gains in the off season, it's really hard to go out and then compete in games competitively. You're just going to be tired. Velo will be down. If you're hitting, your legs are going to be tired because you're working out all the time. So I would say, like Brent's saying, try to get 3 to 4 months in of an off season of trying to build up your strength, try to get all your numbers up, try to get bigger, faster, stronger, and then take that into the season.
Cool. All right, next question.
Jonathan Casada asks, what would be the most efficient way to train a consistent release point?
Okay, so everything I am going to recommend is through my programs, right? Because that's, I believe, how everything works. It's in a system, in a program. So in the 3X programs, 2X programs, whatever you're in, position player, pitcher, consistency is a habit. You've done it a lot, and you've done it. Consistency is, if you've done something a lot of it becomes autonomous or muscle memory. So it's more easy to repeat it, right? Because you've done it before. You've done it so many times, your body's remembered a lot of it. So to be consistent, we have to put in a lot of reps around the same motor control, the same muscle memory or mechanics. So once you get a release point, and a good release point is going to be something in a linear movement. So, I don't want to be, very, early trunk rotating or too rotational with my trunk, where my arms flying out across my body, because it's kind of like a hitter trying to hit a ball coming down at the ball as opposed to on the same line as the ball. It's like you have to be perfect to hit the ball at a down angle than on its path. Same thing, if I'm throwing to a target, I want the ball traveling, or when I'm generating force in that ball, being generated in the same direction as that target. So all I have to do is just release to miss up or down, as opposed to just to put it where I want it. It's going to go left or right, up or down, or whatever. So making sure in separation, I come out into good trunk tilts, good arm path, where I'm getting good external rotation, abduction, lag into that trunk path, where everything's moving towards the target. Then I go to extension to release. Once I have that knocked out and I'm not too rotational, then it's how do I get there every time? Every time. And of course, how I got there is everything I did from the ground up. Don't think it's land and then get your arm to a release point. It's everything I did to get my trunk in position, get good separation, which is a performance move, get the trunks going forward, get the arm path correct. So when I get in release, everything's moving towards the target in that good linear path. And then I'm just do it enough, rep, thousands of times, and now I'm consistent. So first you have to have a biomechanical understanding of a more linear trunk to be in a good place to find consistency, and then you're gonna have to rep it enough times so where it's muscle memory and your body can just find it every time. So if you change anything, good or bad mechanics, it doesn't matter until you get it consistent again, and that has to do with reps. But I want you to get it consistent in something that's precision focused, that's linear, not rotational. So when you do get it consistent, there's a better chance it stays consistent. Anything you want to add?
I think one of the best ways to get a good release point and all that is hip to shoulder separation with linear power. So pretty much being able to separate, being able to drive off your back leg, get separation, hit your front leg, and create those linear powers where it's a drive of linear power, you're hitting your front leg, transferring it back into your trunk, and then getting your trunk to create linear power too. So all that stuff is taught through the drills with Brent's program. So I just think hip to shoulder separation and then just getting energy going through it is going to help your arm orient itself just more naturally in a better position.
Yeah, linear is going to be an easier place to find the targets, right? So we've got to establish that first. And 3X pitching is a linear approach with a rotational complement, right? It's rotation complementing the linear aspects of it. So that's what we're talking about. linear stride, rotational trunk, back into a linear trunk to a linear
Which
finish.
is extremely difficult.
Which is extremely difficult. But once you learn it and you perfect it, that's going to be the most efficient, effective delivery that you can have. And any rotational delivery out there, any rotational approach, in my book, is garbage because it does two things. Your precision is off because you're coming left to right to release. And you have to find that perfect point to release to hit your target, as opposed to moving to your target and releasing it early or late, depending on up or down, but it's going to be in a straight line, or being too rotational where you get, say, they call it arm fly out, where your arm flies out. It's very hard on your arm. It's hard on your arm if you early trunk rotate because you hyperangulate or arm drag, and then if your arm flies out into a full extension, it's very hard on your arm. So it's not a good approach because it's hard on your arm. It's not going to keep you precise. Plus, it fails in velocity too, because in a linear trunk path, you have less time behind the ball. Because in a linear trunk path, or in a rotational trunk path, you have less time behind the ball. In a linear trunk path, you have more. Because in a rotational trunk path, after you separate, you come out of that quickly into pitch release. There's not much linear movement. From there, in a linear trunk path, after separation, you push forward and you have all this time, and you're going to release the bar closer to the hitter. So you have more time, more distance to put force behind that ball, and that's going to help with performance. That's going to help with also injury prevention because you make your arm more efficient. So in my book, rotational is a big failure. If you go rotational in your trunk, you fail completely, okay? We can talk rotational in one component, back leg drive, trunk rotation into linear rotation. That's fine. I'm talking the entire approach is rotational. You will fail as a pitcher. Yep. All right, good question. If you have another question, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, at TopVelocity, hashtag pitch tips, hashtag baseball tips. Ask your question. We answer on the show. Don't forget about the Pocket Radar. It's in my pocket. And don't forget about 3X and 2X programs. Hurry up and book those before it's too late. Summer's going to be popular. See you on the next episode.